Shalom, everyone. This is Dave from Universal Truth of Mankind. I'm your host of Kabbalah 101. Today, we're going to do something that's more introspective. But I'm going to share something in my life, something I've done, and something that's really helped me. I apologize. I don't know if you hear it or not, but I have like 3 or 4 chickens that are complaining. That's what hens do. They complain. It's hilarious watching. They are so like people. It's amazing. They're hilarious. So anyway, in college, I had an opportunity to take a Holocaust class. In fact, my wife also took it as well, against her parents' wishes. But, they said, well, you have your own mind. You can go take it, like they were going to stop her. But anyway, in this Holocaust class, I had a teacher, a Rabbi Kahn, who was a survivor of Auschwitz. Marvelous guy. Him and his father are the only ones of his family that survived. And he taught us during the semester, all about the Holocaust, how it came to be. In other words, he went all the way back to blood libel. He went all the way back to Jesus being Christ killers, and so on and so forth, and showed how things progressed to finally it came to a head, and how Hitler was able to do what he did. Now, at the end of the class, meaning the end of the semester, he gave us free time. He says, I'm here. This is the last class. Ask me whatever you want. And we had a lot of people ask some very, very good questions. There was one gentleman, and a lot of us agreed with him, saying, I don't understand how people could do stuff like this, how they can murder someone, how they can torture somebody, and the way they tortured people. Said, I couldn't see doing that. How could they do this? And he said, well, I wouldn't do this. And that's when he said, well, you're more capable than you think. And we're like, huh? Yeah, he said, you're more capable than you think. There's been psychological tests where they, I'm sure you heard of them. Maybe I'll look them up, include them in the down below, but you just go ahead and look it for yourself. Where they've taken, they did tests, psychologists, where they took a test and they took college students or other people, and they would create a prison situation. And they would do that for like a week or two just to see how people would do things. One was a simulated shock test. But let me step one back and finish my thought on that one. So they put him in jail, and then you had the guards. Eventually, the guards became brutal because the people who were the prisoners were instructed, resist this, resist that. And eventually the guards, which were just normal people, normal students, got frustrated, and they started getting angry and started doing things. I tell you, broke a lot of friendships up to their prisoners, the guards to their prisoners. People walked out of there totally like, oh, we need psychological help because we can't believe we stepped over the bounds and all this stuff. Like I said, a lot of friendships were dissolved as a result of that. Now, there was another one where they did shock tests where they would have a guy behind a curtain, and the technician would come in for a new job, or he'd be paid for this, says, okay, you have to ask this person these questions. If they answer no, you have to push this button. If you answer yes, you have to push that. You don't push the button. And of course, the guy's not hooked up to anything for shock treatment on the other side of the curtain, but he's supposed to scream and yell as though he is, and he can see when he's pushing the button. So so there's definitely a realistic feedback there. And the guy who did it would listen to the guy who would scream and say, please, 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 please don't do it again. And and you can see by the end of the session, which I think it was like a half an hour or something like that, he was like sweating. He says, I can't do this. Most of the people quit right after because they couldn't do that to others. But yet they did it for the time they were paid. So it was found out that yes, for your job, you would do heinous things. So we learned a lot about human nature in this situation. So I took all that idea and I said, you know something? I'm going to make myself a guard. And I'm going to pick someone I would hate. A Nazi. Perfect. The Nazi guard. Perfect. What would I do? And so I kind of simulated in my head various situations. And I shocked myself. Yes, I could do the very things they did to us, to them. Oh, don't get me wrong. There's such a thing as justice, but I'm talking about unjustified activity. You know, feeding someone to a dog. Nazis did that. They would take prisoners and feed them to a dog, starve the dogs for 3 days and throw them in. That was practiced by the SS. Dogs, if someone's at the end of the line, can't keep up with the crowd, they would sick the dogs on them to maul them, if not kill them. If you weren't fast enough, they would shoot you. If they didn't like your eyes, they would throw you into a very, very small confined area that you can't get comfortable in and starve you to death. Really horrible things. But I found out that I am capable of doing this. Now, that doesn't mean I would do it. Please understand. It's just that I do have a good side and a bad side, but I choose not to do the bad side. I choose to do the good side. But if somebody held a gun to my child's head and said, if you don't hurt that person, I'm going to shoot your daughter. I'm going to shoot your son. What are you going to do? We're going to sit there and say, no, take her life, take his life. What if they said, forget the gun. I'm going to strangulate this person in front of you, your son, your daughter, or your wife in front of you. What are you going to do? You're going to kill that other person to save the life? These are the things people were faced with. What would you do in those situations? Isn't that scary? We all learned that we are capable, but we all also learned we have a choice. So think about these things. This is real soul searching, introspective side of our nature that we should contemplate. Take care, everybody. Shalom, shalom. Be happy. I know this is a sad one. Be happy. Be happy. Yeah. Turn into a positive. How far would you go to help another person? That's sometimes good to know.